Crap, I messed up the drop. God dang it. What a disaster. Chat, what's up, chat? Happy Monday. I went to turn the volume down and it just like fast forwarded. Whatever, man. Happy Monday, you guys. Hope you're doing all right. Hope you had a great weekend, and I hope you made some money. And if the worst comes to worst, I just hope you enjoyed your family, enjoyed your weekend. I'm Gun, twitter.com/Gundacker, joined today by the Canadian Skip Bayless, who I guess you could celebrate a LeBron game. He showed off for Matthew Stafford.
Back in the building. LeBron just doing GOAT things. You know, not even surprised by it. The GOAT just doing what GOATs do, you know. People, 24-year-olds dropping 50s, and he's still doing it at 37.
Whatever, bro. You wouldn't do it against... No, I don't know. I don't want to get too crazy. It's too early for this. What up, Macman, BD, Keith Gordon, Nate D, Mia Moore, Dave King, Adam Palmer in the chat. Warriors come out to play. Yeah, it is potentially a Warriors night. However, I feel like every Warriors night so far has been 20-man rotations, 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, it hasn't been the freest of monies in 8-man rotations. But there's a couple of low spots. And I guess tonight there's more Warriors out than the most recent game. So we'll see. We'll jump into all those games and hopefully walk away with some solid options, some solid picks. If you guys are stumbling across this video on YouTube, do me one solid, hit that thumbs up, get the vibes right before we go forward. I guess I forgot to drop the link to this in our Discord, so maybe I should do that. And yeah, we have a lot to talk about. 8 games on the docket today. Let me see. Everyone we live. Oh no. That's the wrong one. We have 8 games on the docket today, so it should be a pretty fun slate to break down. A couple of studs, couple of big household names, and then a couple of value spots with some guys in and out. A couple games that project close, couple games that project like blowouts, do 15-point spreads. So we'll try and navigate the ruins of this slate. But Raj, we haven't seen you since what, last Tuesday?
Last Tuesday, I believe so.
Wow.
It's been going all right. PrizePicks has been up and down. DFS has been. I didn't play Jokic yesterday, so that should tell you how the night went yesterday.
Yeah, it's probably not good. I didn't go back to double check it, but deep into the night, I was essentially SGA over John Morant from first place. Mm-hmm. I had John Morant. Yeah. She had almost lapped him. But I had a 15 from Elijah Hughes, so I don't think that would have held up, but I didn't bother, torturing myself by going back to look. But I did have Nikola Jokic at 30% owned, which is pretty wild on a more condensed slate like yesterday was.
I also have you on Siakam, and he didn't come through for me.
Siakam was in that lineup, but he got 40 fantasy points. I guess he was a better play on Fanduel than DK. I also had Boucher, man. What up, Renzo? What up, Scott? What up? You made it happen. Adam in the chat. Now Porter's questionable. We do have a lot of cues to discuss. We'll break all that down. Matter of fact, maybe that's how we get cranked up. But do want to let you guys know the stream brought to you by RunDFS.com. That's not the place. That's the place where we don't just play DFS. We murder mottos and catchphrases. Yes, sir, we do. Yes, sir, we do. If you guys are looking to take your game above and beyond, get to that next level, or just submerge yourself into a community of like-minded players, I definitely encourage you guys to come check out RunDFS.com. Get yourself a week pass, jump in the Discord, make some friends in the space. I think you'll find it to be very, very useful to your daily process. It's been part of my daily process for over half a decade now, hanging out with some of these crazy cats and kittens and chopping up the slate. So if you guys do want to jump in at RunDFS.com, VIP memberships, and get a week pass. Just try it out. Underdog NBA, man. What an incredible job Fan does every day, collecting news and keeping us sharp on our toes. And he also does a pretty cool thing every day at 3 p.m. Posts a news to watch tweet. So we'll let that lead us into kind of setting the groundwork on news that is impacting the slate and stuff that we are waiting around for. LeBron James questionable. He's pretty much had a questionable tag on him every game this season. Luka Doncic is probable. Rudy Gobert was downgraded to questionable midday. Kyle Lowry upgraded to questionable in a game that they expect Victor Oladipo to play. So that's going to be a pretty murky rotation when it comes to usage versus the price points today. D'Angelo Russell downgraded to questionable. We already know Anthony Edwards is listed as doubtful. 15-point spread. It could be big for Cab. Also could be trappy. Vucevic questionable. And that game, I think, has like a 7-point spread right now. If he can't go, you might expect Tristan Thompson, Tony Bradley to pick up some of those big minutes opposite Joel Embiid. And then Kevin Huerter, questionable. And then we mentioned the Golden State Warriors. They ruled all of their impact players out after the game against the Lakers. Road game at Denver, altitude, I guess. Steve Kerr had this game circled as a maintenance game. Well, to top that off, JTA has been downgraded to questionable with an illness, as has Otto Porter Jr., so that's something to be cognitive of. And then Will Barton in that game, questionable with an ankle. And we did speculate that, in the right throwaway spot, you might get Jokic. I know the rest game, we saw him rest against the Rockets the other night, and DeMarcus Cousins ended up going nuclear. So maybe something to keep in the back of your head and watch going forward. But certainly not a slate without news to track and follow. And what would a big slate without news to track and follow be, right? Boring. We wouldn't do that, right? Yeah. Adam says, F, could you imagine if Murray and Russell out would have done to the slate at the guard position? It'd be pretty wild. Scott says, Kuminga's going to crush my lineups, no in between. Yeah, Kuminga, all those potential Warriors value are going to be playing with fire. They definitely all individually have potential per minute, per upside, like Jordan Poole, Kuminga, guys like that stand out as pretty solid plays. However, we have seen this a few times this season where some of the more trendy Warriors options end up not being that big of a deal at the end of a slate because of a widened rotation. However, today's Warriors list of actives might be a lot lower. I don't know if we'll get to that 8, but it just might get pretty short. Adam says Porter sits. We fire Tate, baby. Gordon is out. All right, Eric Gordon. Is Josh Hart a must start? Says Ocean. I don't think he's a must start, but I do think he's the only NBA caliber player on that team right now that's active tonight. So maybe he's the strongest option on that team if you're looking for something to keep that game close. Very reasonable to suspect he might lead the team in every category. Rob says the worst loss of any team this year is losing to the Lakers. Maybe. When LeBron hits 50 points, it's just, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, heck, the
GOAT does GOAT things. You can't do nothing.
The Grizzlies lost to the Rockets yesterday, right? Like it's still big league basketball any given Sunday. I think the Grizzlies losing to the Rockets is more shocking to me than LeBron James beating any team in the league, right? Jokic possible limited minutes potentially, Adam. That's what we're thinking is possible because of the back-to-back, because of the implied soft matchup. Booties says did good yesterday. Thanks, yo. Shout out to Booties. Congratulations to you, chat. We have been pushing. We do have that premium Discord, rundfs.com. But I do understand the value and the need for not a need, but maybe the usefulness of a free Discord as well. So last Monday we launched this free Discord, and I encourage you guys to jump in that if you have a Discord account. The link in the description below to the Discord will get you into that server, and we have several channels that have been going well. We have the NBA main sports channel. Shout out to you guys being active, getting this thing off the ground. We do have the alerts from all of the trusted NBA news accounts to kind of be topical. We have the screenshot channel, which is getting a lot of action every night right at the end of the slate. I love peeking over here, and there's always some big ones. Roz, I don't think you're in the server yet. Hint, hint, wink, wink. You should jump in it. But we look at that screenshots channel in the server. Shout out to our boy Jermaine. the other, was it last night? He said he robbed the joint. I mean, some of these screenshots Jermaine put. Jermaine's in Australia, so he can't really play on the DFS sites we play on. He can't play on PrizePicks, but he's still finding value in some of the information, and he's still just out here balling. Look at some of these returns here. Almost $2,000 because of Brogdon over points, SGA over 25.5 points, Jokic over 46.5 PRA. Almost $2,000 on that. The next one, I don't know if it trebles, dollars, whatever. Next one, 2680. The next one,
It's called
934. This is an Australian version of Bet365, yes.
Gotcha.
Okay. So shout out to Rob. So it's not just PrizePicks, but we are getting some PrizePicks glory in here as well. You guys,
Bet365 will limit you though once you start winning. Kind of sucks.
I don't know how it works in.
They can just do whatever. Like you start being real profitable, they'll just be like your limit's down to like $100 a day. Or
yeah, a lot of books have that problem.
I think that's so stupid, but.
Chris Raptor, the homie Chris, man, he's posted some nice wins the last couple of days as well. Plus 200 on this card, plus 800 on this card, plus 1,000 on this card with KD over 26.5 real points, Kyrie over 4.5 assists, Tatum over 6 free throws, Crowder over 11 real points, SGA over 25.5 real points. $1,000, man. I love to see the fam eat, man. That's the vibes, man. You guys join this Discord. All I ask is you be happy for each other. You guys want to see each other be great, and I don't care what's your win. If you're turning $9 into $50, that's cool too. I don't care about the commas, man. I just want to see you guys succeed and having fun with this beautiful hobby of ours. So jump in that free Discord, and as it grows, we've already hit over 100 members right off the rip. As it grows, I'm going to start adding more and more utility, and then do some more giveaway passes and stuff like that. So want to see you guys in there. Discord, what is it? Discord's kind of like a mobile chat thing that you can bring on the go. You put it on your phone and look through it, and you'll get alerts for stuff that you're subscribed to in terms of what you want alerts for. I would advise if you join any server, you probably just turn all noties off outside of everyone tags, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. Landis says, how do you feel about Harden, Poole, LeBron, Maxey, Cade Cunningham? All those guys certainly make sense. What up, Neville? I feel like Embiid, Harden, Max are kind of capped at 40, 50 fantasy points when all on the court together. Maybe, but that hasn't truly been the case with theirs so far. But I understand what you're saying, especially maybe more so Embiid and Harden. You feel like you got that glass ceiling at their price points. That how often are they going to coexist to break that? Maybe not super often, but I do think if you throw a blanket over them and single entry or smaller stuff on a more medium-sized slate, maybe you can combine for 120, 130 fantasy points, right? Let's go into the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, and let's start chopping up the news and notes. Whew, that was a draft. Man, what's the temp? 40 degrees? I thought we were done with this winter crap. Atlanta Hawks at the Detroit Pistons, first game on the docket. Hawks project starting 5, Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, Clint Capella taking on Corey Joseph, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, and Isaiah Stewart. 228.5 total. 7.5 point spread for the home team, Atlanta Hawks. John Collins back in the mix. Kevin Huerter is questionable. Pistons are somewhat healthy. They do have Frank Jackson out, and Diallo had a Q tag on him. I'll double check the status on Diallo since we're here. We can do our due diligence. Still officially questionable, suffering from a non-COVID related illness. You notice we've only had 2 health and safety protocol incidents since the All-Star break. It was Steve Nash and Devin Booker. Are we done with that? Are we done? Is it on the Atlanta side? Kevin Huerter listed as questionable. He's dealing with a left shoulder soreness, and then John Collins is back in the mix here, and Okongwu off the concussion protocol. So Clint Capella might go back to that rotation where he was playing full first half minutes and often finding himself benched in the fourth quarter in lieu of the Collins Gallo lineup, or just Okongwu. We know Capella is certainly somebody that can be a risk, a liability, if you will. Ooh, daddy. When it comes to shooting free throws. So Something to keep an eye on. Raj, this near 230 total, so there's enough implied points that I'm somewhat interested. The Hawks, while being a really good offense, also offer one of the worst defensive efficiencies in the league. So if you look at a guy like Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, we've talked about Jeremy Grant as well in the PrizePicks show. There's certainly some viability in their price points and 40+ fantasy point potential. Did you have any strong leans here? The Jeremy Grant discussion we had on the PrizePicks show, Marvin Bagley's been really good off the bench, 22 minutes, oftentimes getting you just under 20 real points and going from there. Kelly Olynyk as well. So I've been a little bit more skittish on Jeremy Grant, but his price point is so low. If I get to north side of 30 fantasy points, I'm a happy camper. Sadiq Bey offering up a lot of real points right now, probably going to lead the team in minutes, not by much, but still lead the team in minutes. And then same with Cade Cunningham. I need 40 fantasy points to feel like I'm getting a good deal on a slate like this. But he has a ceiling in as a guard in this spot against the Atlanta Hawks, and we've seen him score 50+ fantasy points in his last couple games. Obviously, his floor to ceiling ratios is a little bit wide, but if he gets to the north side of 40, north side of 50 today, I think I want a piece of that. Do you have any strong leans about what you want to do from this game? And then Trae Young certainly has every bit of 50+ fantasy point viability and capability here, so I don't mind looking his way for a little bit of exposure. Maybe Collins being back, we did the run. He's going to have a or assist rate over 40%. Maybe we attack some of his assist props and prop betting opportunities. But for fantasy-wise, it wouldn't stun me if he has a 50+ fantasy point game in his own right. And then keep an eye on Bogdanovic if Herter can't go. Bogdan's been really offering about 30 fantasy points a game during this stretch without John Collins. Maybe that's going to neutralize now with Collins in the mix and this injury report looking a little bit lighter. But I think if I had to pluck a couple names away from this game just for some tournament exposure, it's probably going to be Trae Young, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey. Everything else is kind of tertiary. I guess I wouldn't hate you for some John Collins or some Isaiah Stewart, but I don't have super high warm fuzzies or infatuation with them being anything above a tier 3. What say you, Raj?
Yeah, I think I'm in full agreement with you here in terms of Detroit. With them there's kind of a fully healthy team. Everyone's back. I see a lot of these guys playing high 20 minutes with Isaiah Stewart, Kelly Olynyk, Bagley, Grant. The only guys, again, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey are the only two who I'd suspect to play above 35 minutes. Even Cade, I could see him playing only 30. With Sadiq Bey, 35 minutes plus at 6,800 on DK, I'll take that against Atlanta. And Cunningham at 7,500, I think he has 40 to 50 point upside if he sees 35 minutes, so I don't hate that. And the Atlanta side, again, this is a team that's fully healthy. Kongu's back, John Collins is back, so guys like Gallinari, Bogdan kind of lose their upside a little bit. Kevin Huerter is questionable. If he gets ruled out, that might be a slight bump for a guy like DeAndre Hunter, maybe even a Bogdan. But I think the main focus here is definitely Trae Young, and I think he gets lost in the sauce here a little bit. 8-game slate with plenty of guys to choose from. You have Jokic against Golden State. You have Luka Doncic against Utah. You got Joel Embiid against Chicago. LeBron, Harden, DeJounte Murray in an elite spot. So I think Trae Young kind of gets lost here. So I think in tournaments he'll be less than 10, maybe even 5% owned. And against the Detroit team, he has the ability to break a slate. So give him some Trae Young, and then Sadiq Bey and Cade Cunningham in Detroit.
Yeah, I think that'll be the names I pull away from, and just kind of set a few exposure limit levels, and then I don't really have any correlations that I need to distinctly drive wedges between any of these guys. And we'll go from there. What up, Keith Sill? What up, Crispy? Shout out to Crispy. Jermaine in the chat. Tall. Donnie. You guys doing all right? Chat, man. Start high with them vibes. 100+ of you guys already. Hit that thumbs up. 26. You guys are already, about to beat the likes that the PrizePicks show got. So am I to say that the DFS show viewers are better than the PrizePicks? Oh, come on, don't make me do it. We're at 6,659 subs on the channel, so that push for 7K is real. We're averaging about somewhere between 15 and 20 new subscribers a day. So if you're out there lurking, you want to hit that 7K goal with us. It's a community goal, not just a me goal. Make sure you got that red subscribe button not lit up, right? If you see it red, you see it lit up, hit it. It's free to do so. And then we've actually made a deal with several sites. We can't, there's an NDA, there's a whole thing, but I will say that based on your subscription to this channel, you have a higher probability to succeed in your daily prize picks and DFS ventures. I'm not even supposed to tell you that. I might actually be assassinated now because I leaked that, but I feel like you guys should know that you increase your chances of winning big by subscribing to the channel. Chicago Bulls at the Philadelphia 76ers. Next game on the docket, project starting 5 for the Bulls. Ayo Dosunmu, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Tristan Thompson, question mark, and Nikola Vucevic. So TT was thrown out there last game. It felt like that was a matchup thing because of the Bucks. 2, just ironically, there was some bulletin board material between him and Grayson Allen, and nothing really happened. But we'll see if that's something that they wanted to do, Twin Tower front court, to maybe give them some more.
Adam Palmer super chatted $1.99. How does Brown affect Watford tonight?
Holy cow, what a question. How does Greg Brown affect Trendon Watford tonight? I
still think Trent Watford's going to get 30 minutes. I think he's the guy who's still going to see the minutes
they
here.
Might still all get.
I want to see what he.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna hit that game here just a bit, but that whole Blazer situation, Greg Brown might have a more negative impact on Drew Eubanks, but we really just don't know. And I don't think the Blazers have a rhyme or reason to what they're doing, but I expect them all to. I have Watford projected for the most minutes of the 3 front court guys, so that's what I'm going to honor and hope it's not much, but yeah. So Vucevic is questionable for this game. If he can't go, you might see TT at the 5. You might see like Javonte Green back in the mix here. And I don't know that Tristan Thompson as a starter was a long-term plan anyway, so it's just something to keep an eye on. I just kind of always carry over the last starting lineup. And then the Sixers project starting lineup, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. We got 232.5 total, 7 points spread in favor of the Philadelphia 76ers. Adam, by the way, I appreciate that $2 dono. That is love, man. You guys are awesome. This says a 232 total, so a lot of implied points here. I think the 7-point spread is going to leave the door open for a couple scenarios, a couple ranges of outcomes. Touched on it on the PrizePicks show. I know Bulls fans don't want to hear it, but Chicago might be in for some regression. They have not had a big success rate against top half teams in the league, and a lot of their success has come from beating up bottom of the barrel teams. And down the stretch, they have, I believe, statistically the toughest remaining schedule. So this Bulls team that was competing for the number 1 seed in basketball, they might not even have home court advantage in the playoffs as regression starts catching up to them, as these games without Lonzo and Alex Caruso catches up to them. And then now if they have a game without Vucevic here, that's definitely going to take a lot of sting out of their bite up against a Sixers team that is looking better and better as James Harden gets more and more reps with this team. Matchup-wise, though, I'm still going to give LaVine and DeRozan some credit here. I'm not going to write them all the way off, but 7-point spread leaves a couple of scenarios out there for me. For a PrizePicks standpoint, I liked looking at Tyrese Maxey. He had a point prop at 17.5, and so far with James Harden, Maxey has cleared that 17.5 point prop rather easily. And we've seen Doc and Maxey and Joel Embiid, all these guys really talk about how they haven't had this much high quality looks, these open shots. I think Maxey, if you really think about it, has had really the best quality shot volume, with defenses really focusing on Harden, on Embiid. And last couple games with Harden, with Embiid, we've seen 33, 25, 21, 28 real points from Tyrese Maxey, and that 17 came without Harden in a game where the team scored 82 points on night 2 of a back third game in 4 nights. So I think a little bit of fresh legs here for Maxey will do him well as the team gets Harden back into the mix here. And I think Maxey's real points for PrizePicks, something that I do like. So if you want to jot that down. From a DFS standpoint, 10.4K on Harden on Fanduel feels a little bit better, $1,000 cheaper than his DK counterpart. I'm getting about a 50 fantasy point projection on that. Embiid, 10.9 on Fanduel, 12K on DK, so $1,000 discount as well on Fanduel versus DraftKings. I'm getting almost a 60 fantasy point projection on that. Bigs against the Bulls have been rather successful from a fantasy point standpoint, no matter who they throw out there in that front court, they really got no answer for Joel Embiid, Vucevic, and Tristan Thompson, and Tony Bradley. Whoever it is, I'm not really expecting much resistance for Embiid. It just really comes down to your game script. Does the game stay close? If it stays close, we got big minute expectations for the bulk of these Sixers starters. So I could be talked into some FanDuel shares of Harden and Embiid. I definitely understand somebody in chat was trepidatious on maybe having too much overlap between Harden and Embiid, as one guy's ceiling might come at another guy's floor or median game at these price points. I don't disagree with that thought, so I'm not going to push back on it. But I would say it'd be more slate size contingent for me to be hard following that rule for correlations, and it probably also more of a DraftKings thing for me than a FanDuel thing. I think on FanDuel, if I put these two together for less than 12K and I can get back 120 to 130 fantasy points, that's a good starting point, especially on a slate like this. We're going to have so much value to go out there and overpay for some raw points. Raj, what do you like from the Bulls and the Sixers? If we expect Vooch to be out, Levine and DeRozan have dueling 30% usage rates. And
it's probable, though, right?
Who? Vooch?
Vucevic is probably expected to play.
Did that just come out?
Yeah. No, the Bulls head coach Billy Donovan said that Denver will likely play in Monday's matchup.
Said who?
The Bulls head coach Billy Donovan.
He said Vucevic is probable?
Yeah, will likely play Monday's matchup.
All right. Well, I had something completely different on the last stream. Let's see. Chicago. Questionable. Vucevic. Right hamstring questionable. Vucevic did not take part in Sunday's practice, and now his name's on the official injury report. So how long ago did you see that quote?
Just right now. It's actually on DK's blurb.
Oh, okay.
Bulls head coach Billy Donovan said the center will likely play. Yeah. I don't know if they just updated.
All right. Well, either so if Vooch is in, I don't care about his defense versus Joel Embiid. I still think it's pretty solid. Let's see. Where are you seeing that?
Just on DK, like click the player DK blurb underneath.
I did, and the first thing I see is the same thing I just read.
Go to get. You see this update Vucevic right under the analysis.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. I'm gonna believe you, Raj, but I don't see it.
Yeah.
Either way, if Vooch does play, I still think
click on it.
I think that keeps the game closer, but I still think Embiid should be able to body you.
Gotcha. No, for sure. I mean, so with this game, the prices just seem kind of tough to get to on the Philly side. So Embiid at 12K. I mean, I don't think there's any way I'm playing Embiid over Luka against Utah, who's just been giving up points, and even Jokic at 12-6. So Embiid might get a little lost for me just because of that price point here. With James Harden in, I just think it, kind of caps the ceiling a little bit. So not in love with him there. James Harden at 11-4. Again, fine, but you're gonna need that kind of. You're gonna need 70, 65 fantasy points with the amount of guys above 11K today. It's for an 8-game slate. We have quite a bit of guys above 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys. DeJounte Murray, Harden, Embiid, Doncic, Jokic. So I'm not running to play Harden and Embiid, and definitely not together at those price points. I mean, if you fall to one, fine, but definitely not a core play, not a tier one. And the Chicago side, Vooch at 8,600, I think does have some upside there. It's going to be out there, so I don't hate it. Zach LaVine at 8,300 might be my favorite play in this game. 50-point upside at 8,300, I'll take it. It seems like you're getting a bit of a discount. DeRozan at 97 is fine, but I prefer that LaVine price at 83.
Yeah, I know you're a DK guy, so the Harden and Embiid overlap definitely I can get behind not jamming them both in the lineup, but I think on FanDuel I can still justify it pretty easily. Harden's 4 position eligible, I believe, with point guard, shooting guard, and then Embiid. So last night I always talk about winning the position. I think last night's a great example. Steven Adams was just an incredible play if you played him, right?
Yeah,
he was like 6K, dropped like 50.
Yeah.
But he didn't win the position. Nikola Jokic did.
Yeah.
And that huge game out of Adams becomes almost obsolete when it comes to winning a tournament because Jokic won the position so mightily. Now, if Jokic drops 60 or something like that, it's a little bit different. But there's still value in winning the position, and especially center only on one center site. So I do think I do think Embiid at 10.9K can coexist with Harden, and if Vooch is going to play, it looks like he will. I think the Bulls' propensity to keep this game a little bit closer is live. I will say Zach LaVine's point or price point on both FanDuel and DraftKings feels like the easiest to click out of the big three. 77 on FanDuel, 8,300. He's coming off a 30 real point game, and if he overlaps with Harden a little bit more than he doesn't, I'm fine with that. And I'm getting a solid projection at 40 plus there, so I do like that as a play from the Bulls to get a decent chunk of DeRozan and Vucevic. I might get to know Vucevic at 8.86K. I'm just expecting between 40 and 50 in this matchup. 40 is probably a good day, and I do think center spot's going to give me some spots where I'm selling out a little bit more for ceiling. But I think DeRozan and LaVine are the two guys I'm eyeing the most, and I think price-wise I'm just going to end up with more LaVine than anything. Maxey on DraftKings, over $1,000 cheaper than his FanDuel price point. So this is a great example of a spot where I may get to know Maxey on FanDuel and a decent clip of Maxey on DK. Do you have any early plans to get to Maxey exposure at 6,700?
6,700, third option on this team. I just think the upside, I mean, at 6,700, I think he's good for 30, 35. I just don't know if he has that upside as other guys in that price tag for me to fall in love with him. Definitely not a tier 1. If I fall into him, sure, but I'm not running to play him.
Let me double check in our NFL chat. NFL. I think I just saw like a weird. I saw something in chat, but it says Calvin Ridley got suspended the 2022 season for gambling on NFL games.
When he sat out, he was gambling?
This is breaking news right now. Wasn't he out for mental health?
Yeah, he might just retire. He's only 27 though.
Nah, he's still young, but that's crazy. Yeah, betting on games can't.
Again, I think you should be able to bet on like games you're not playing in. Even games you're playing in. If you're betting that you to win, I think that should be allowed. But that's just me.
So if you guys have Calvin Ridley in season long, those dynasty leagues, maybe right. sell them right now before the story gets even bigger. But I'm sure you're not gonna be able to pull the wool off of people. That's crazy. This Calvin Ridley was really betting on games. Heck, hey man, I mean, it is what it is. What are you gonna do? Oh, that's unfortunate. But like, it's just I don't know. I don't know the situation. It's gonna be a lot of people making up and drawing their own conclusions there. Who knows what he was actually doing? All right, you know what I mean? Like,
I think get suspended. He was making DraftKings lineups.
There's usually more than meets the eye when it comes to stuff like that, but that's crazy. Rockets at the Heat. Next game on the docket. Projects 35 for the Rockets. Kevin Porter, Jalen Green, Garrison Matthews, Jayshawn Tate, Christian Wood taking on Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, Bam Adebayo. Larry not for sure in. He's been out. He was upgraded to questionable today, and it looks like this is the date for Victor Oladipo to make his debut for the Heat here and perhaps make a top team in the East even better if we get Lowry in, Butler in, Adebayo in, Tyler Hero in, and Victor Oladipo in. I don't believe that these price points in a 15-point spread are going to be anything that I want to wrestle with from a DFS standpoint. The Rockets did beat the Grizzlies last night. They lose an hour in travel going to Miami. Miami, really, really good. The Grizzlies are really good in their own right, so I'm not going to say that the matchup gets harder, but it's a lot to expect from the Rockets team that is really bad on an average day against a top team in the league that is getting some pieces back. So I do think the more common approach for me this game is going to be probably full fading the Heat, which is easier said than done because we love picking on the Rockets, and maybe Adebayo is still live here at 8,700 on DK. You could see nearly 50 fantasy points, but you also don't quite know if you're getting 30 plus minutes here. So you guys chime in. Are you fading this game? And Roger, are you fading this game? We do know that Gordon is out. KPJ remains pretty cheap in games that they are going to be competitive in. You can make a case for Christian Wood, Jay Shante, all these guys. The matchup here says stay away from the front court defense and target 3-point shooters. Maybe Jalen Green, who essentially called game yesterday, is the guy that we run back. But for the most part, if I ended up with no pieces from this game, I don't think I lose sleep. If you are a guy that plays for the blowout, maybe Alperen Şengün is somebody you can get some exposure to. How are you approaching this game on a slate this size? Are you full fading?
I don't think I'm going to fade Jalen Green. I mentioned him. He just stays at that $53 to $5,700 range. Past few games, 40, 37, 39, 33. I mean, against decent teams, Clippers, Utah, Denver, Memphis. I mean, those aren't necessarily easy matchups. So he's getting the minutes. He's getting the usage here. He's scoring points, getting rebounds, getting assists. So at 5,700, I think I just think he's going to play even some blowouts too, right? Because he's a rookie, young guy. They're going to leave him out there. So I'm not too worried about him. So I don't mind some Jalen Green in this spot. But other than that, I guess Miami team, great defense. They're fully healthy. I'm probably getting to know Miami. You know what? The only way I play Bam and maybe a Jimmy Butler together or a Bam and Tyler Hero together is if I think Houston can keep this game close, like they did with Memphis, like they did with Utah, like they did with Denver, and maybe even kind of mini game stack and bring it back with Jalen Green and a Christian Wood. Even though it's a tough matchup for Wood, he's the guy that's been balling out all this month. I mean, he was giving work to Rudy Gobert. He dropped 50 points on Rudy Gobert. So Bam's just as elite. But in a little game stack, I don't mind it. But individually, I don't think I'm getting too much of this piece. I think it'll be sneaky, though, especially Christian Wood. Like, he's been killing it.
Yeah, I just hate trusting.
And again, like against Steven Adams, against Rudy Gobert.
So, I mean, Adams and Gobert are great traditional defensive centers, and Gobert is a little bit above that. But Adams, you get him away from the rim, and Gobert, too. We've seen centers do well, like Karl-Anthony Towns that spike games. Adebayo is a little bit more versatile in terms of being able to defend stretch five, so I'm not too worried about that. But I get what you're saying. Christian Wood has a skill set that can kind of usurp a lot of these bad DVP matchups, and a lot of this DVP is because they restrict points in the paint. And if you can be a stretch five that can score outside the paint, you can catch a screen, whatever, and go for it. But I probably am not going to try too hard to talk myself into Christian Wood against Adebayo. Like, realistically, this game should be over pretty quick, even despite Houston's heroic
Jalen Green, though?
So statistically, he makes sense, right? If we're targeting 3-point shooters against the Miami Heat, and you guys have seen it in the team metrics chart, so far the Miami Heat, because of their front court defense, has funneled shots behind the arc. Miami's allowing top 5 amounts of 3-pointer points via the 3-ball per game, at a pace rating of 96. Maybe Oladipo, cures some of that going forward. But yes, if I had to find something that would metrically make sense against the Miami Heat, would be somebody that I think could chuck some threes and hit some threes. 7, 6, 9, 6, 10 shots from behind the arc the last couple games. Not very efficient, or not overly efficient, I'll say, but I guess he could make sense, but probably not something that I'm going to be jamming in here. It's a big slate. There's going to be multiple ways to skin a cat. I don't know that we get a slate-breaking outlier performance from any of these guys individually. Like, you could tell me Christian Wood was an okay play and Porter and Jalen Green, but I'm not getting crazy projections here. So I'm probably just fading it, but I wouldn't hate you for taking some stabs at these shooters just because of the split here. Mario says, is Lowry play? Lowry's not in or out. He was upgraded to questionable from out, so that's a good sign. But at the very least, we know Victor Oladipo is back in the mix. So the waters are going to be murky as is. Maybe if we do get one more game without Lowry, we're not expecting big minutes on Depot, right? Maybe 10, 12, 14, something like that. So maybe we're overthinking the lack of maybe overthinking the rotation there, but it's that 15-point spread that's kind of spooking me. And the I don't know, AK for Jimmy Butler is still pretty cheap. I've got him at a 50 fantasy point projection, but that is with Lowry right now, not being accounted for minutes. So if we give Lowry some minutes here, Butler's usually a guy I only like to play in a game that I expect to be a little bit closer. But I don't think there's a wrong way to approach this game. There's just like I'm just telling you guys how I'm doing it. I'm probably going to full fade this game and hope for the best. Although all year long it's been stack against the Rockets, stack against the Hornets, and lately, in teams that you could feel good about, stack against the T-Wolves. They have become one of the faster-paced teams in the league down this recent stretch, and they have not really cared much about defense. Minnesota now the third fastest pace rating in all of basketball with 110.8 points per 100 possessions allowed. They will be without, or they are most likely without, Anthony Edwards today. He's listed as doubtful. Beverly and D'Angelo Russell, questionable. D-Russ was downgraded to questionable today. It's a 15-point spread, much like the Rockets game. And this is a run back of what we saw the other night. It's the same but different, right? The T-Wolves against the Blazers the other night. First of all, the T-Wolves did live up to this spread ish with the 14-point victory over Portland, even though the game felt a lot closer for 3 quarters and then kind of got away. But a big reason that game was close, Chronic, was Anthony Simons went nuclear in that first half, and he was doing that thing he does where he just hits a billion threes, 9 for 17 from behind the arc in 40 minutes played. Simons is easily the best scorer on the Blazers team, and today Simons is going to be wearing street clothes. He is out, and they are trading his activeness for Josh Hart, who got love for Josh Hart, but he's not quite the elite scorer that Anthony Simons is. So this game seems a little bit more likely to live up to that 15-plus point spread, and maybe this looks more like the T-Wolves and the Thunder game from the other night. However, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, maybe 3 steps back, depending on your weight of D'Angelo Russell. If this game gives us no D-Russ, no Patrick Beverly, maybe no Taurean Prince, something like that.
Living the Diamond super chatted $4.99. I'm back. Raj looks sad, like he ain't sold no extended warranties. Also, what did I miss? Is it a good night to return?
Oh man, Damron is back like he never left.
To say, I ain't in the sales industry like that, or selling warranties or insurance.
Okay. But leave that alone. We'll start. I get slippery slope of jokes here. Welcome back, Damron. Damron chat was in San Francisco for the week. I believe he, if my memory serves me correct. First of all, last time I saw Damron, he was in our Discord chat live on the boat that was passing Alcatraz. I was like, yo, is that Alcatraz? And then I heard, yeah. And then that was the last I saw of him. It was like, oh, okay. Did he just get thrown overboard? But I think he was there for the Chinese theater. Is that what it was? To go watch Batman debut or something like that. So shout out to Dameron. Welcome back. Is it a good night to return? It's all right. It's all right. You know,
odd slate of games, I feel like. It's an interesting one.
Yeah. So anyway, Portland Trailblazers, They needed a huge game from Anthony Simons to keep that game within 14 that last time out. They don't have much scoring in this lineup. Maybe we could say that because we don't have a lot of familiarity with a lot of these names. But, I mean, this is a 10-day contract team, essentially, right? It feels like a bunch of G League superstars. With that said, it is likely going to be another short available list for the Blazers, and minutes equal money, and the Timberwolves are not playing defense right now. So if you end up with exorbitant amounts of Brandon Williams, CJ Ellaby, Josh Hart, Drew Eubanks, Trendon Watford was like 40-50% owned that last slate. Fanduel didn't adjust his price. DK put him at 5K. All these guys are live for just incredible minute opportunities tonight in a matchup against a bad defense. So even though they might be big dogs, there's not names here that you're protecting in a blowout, right? You can let Brandon Williams play 40 minutes. You get all these guys. Maybe Josh Hart's the main guy you might throw on some ice. But this is one of those weird spots where who cares if it's a blowout? It's let them play. Raj, what do you do with this game? I think if the stuff locked right now, my training has me leaning towards midday Qs being out. So I'd be looking at Karl-Anthony Towns to be 1.5 fantasy point per minute. And on FanDuel at 9,200, that's just like a really cheap price. And I've had mixed results in the 2 games with this non-Edwards split. The one game against the Thunder, it blew out, so I didn't get the full run. And then the next night, I'm a little bit skittish, and he pops off against the Blazers. But if there's no D-Russ and potentially no Beverly, he's Q2, right? We can have like a Jalen Noel, Malik Beasley lineup, and it's just like it becomes a little bit more easier to navigate these waters. Beasley, by the way, was ejected in that last game. So those of you guys that maybe don't remember that or just like kind of like game log watching, you'd be like, oh man, he only got 21 minutes against Portland last game. Well, he also got ejected. Let me see. When did he get ejected so we can kind of piece together what he might have played in Portland?
I'll say third quarter.
Malik Beasley got ejected. Yeah, a couple minutes into the third quarter, and he started that game.
That's why Jalen Noel got a minutes bump that game too.
Yeah, Noel immediately came in and played every minute after Beasley's ejection. So if you're worried about Beasley's minutes and you didn't catch that he was ejected, maybe he's got 30 minutes on the table. Even and more so implied, perhaps if D-Russ and Beverly don't play. Beverly didn't play that game, I think. Let me double check that before I lie. Yeah, Beverly didn't play that game. So a lot to keep an eye on. There's definitely some very, very important news from this game. Raj, if D-Russ and Beverly are out, are Malik Beasley and Karl-Anthony Towns two pieces that you start with, or is Cat still a little bit risky? Because let's face it, this Blazers team should get smoked no matter what.
I don't know about that. I think if D'Angelo Russell sits, Edwards is doubtful. If Beverly sits, I just think you have a young team. They're going to play desperate. They're going to play hungry. A guy like Brandon Williams could shock you, get you some buckets. We know Josh Hart can do his thing, fill up the stat sheet. CJ Ellaby's going to be out there shooting the threes. I mean, if he can get hot. You got Trent Watford who can give Cat the work. I think he'd be good for 30-plus fantasy points. I would not be shocked. We've seen it before. Either they get rocked and knocked out, or they're going to keep this game close. It's going to be, 110, 105, 115, 110. Just team that's playing hungry. I could do a 3v3 stack.
What do you mean hungry? Game. They're not hungry, bro. This is
I'm
literally
these are NBA guys playing for jobs. Guys like Brandon Williams.
Yes, but individually, this is not. There's a couple 10-day guys that didn't know each other 2 weeks ago. It's not
play hard. They play hard. What's the rule in NBA DFS? Minutes equal money.
Right.
Minutes equal money.
I feel like you didn't listen to a word I said. I'm not discrediting that. Individually, there's purpose in these guys, but the team isn't hungry. No, the team is not hungry. The team has a couple guys that maybe want to make a statement and find their next 10-day contract. Exactly. But that's a look what I can do. This team needed Anthony Simons to go full fake in 40 minutes in that last game just to lose by 14. This is not a good team. Any which way you cut it.
Josh Hart getting you 50 fantasy points.
Huh?
Josh Hart can get you 50 fantasy points to keep this game close at 7,400.
He can get you 50 fantasy points, but it's rare that you're going to get like 30 real points out of Josh Hart.
Just sure, he's rebounds. I can see him even taking over a lot of the point guard duties here. Get you those assists, points, rebounds, baby triple-double spot. So, again, I'm going to have some lineups where I have 3 guys from Portland, and if D'Angelo Russell's out, 3 guys from Minnesota. You mentioned Beasley, you mentioned Jalen Noel, Cat. Vanderbilt's also intriguing too.
Taron Prince questionable. I don't know. I'm definitely less. So the thing is, we agree, but we disagree. I don't think that they keep it close, but I don't think it matters because we're gonna get minutes regardless, right? They get down 20. You're still gonna see most of these same guys. Josh Hart, maybe the only guy that I'm skeptical of not getting run here. Guys like Drew Eubanks, Brandon Williams, like these guys are on limited contracts trying to get more run here. But Trendon Watford on FanDuel 3,700 probably going to repeat his big ownership that we saw in that last slate. At 5K, I'm curious to see if people still get to him with confidence, but I think 30 fantasy points is very, very, very viable just because of the amount of minutes that he might play here. 32 minutes against Minnesota that last outing, 39 fantasy points off of 14 rebounds, and only 12 points in 8 shot attempts. So he got to the line 8 times, hit 6 of those free throws. So certainly a guy I don't mind getting back to, but it's not something that I'm not calling spoiler here. I'd be a little bit more intrigued with the T-Wolves once we get a more solidified injury report. If you give me no Naz Reid, no Edwards, no Prince, no Beverly, Jalen Noel, Malik Beasley, and Cat seem like a really solid core. And then Jared Vanderbilt, especially on FanDuel, but on both sites, at under 5K. Certainly could fill up the stat sheet. Very defensive peripheral guy. So I like him more on Fanduel, and he's cheaper on Fanduel. But he's been a shot at 25, 26 to 30 fantasy points and getting closer to 30 on Fanduel. 37 minutes in that game against Portland. And I think 25 plus minutes is all I need for him to be playable. So I do like this game for options here, and it's a little different than the Miami game where the blowout doesn't really scare me too much in this spot versus that last game. If the news shakes out the right way. Dustin Lauer, appreciate that subscribe or subscription here, man. Welcome to the channel. Let's get caught up on the live chat. Before we move on to the next one, Donnie Boone says DeRozan's going to get a 60 burger. Let's go. Vucevic didn't practice Sunday due to hamstring. Yeah, I see that now. Let's go down a little bit more. I think I was stuck on up a little bit more. There's an incredible Jokic and Embiid debate going on. Shout out to you guys.
There's no debate. Jokic is just a better basketball player. He's definitely the MVP. Like, Embiid is great, but I just think there's levels. Jokic is literally having the greatest season ever for a player. I don't think people understand. Like, all his advanced metrics are just absurd. He's carrying scrubs, and they're in the playoffs. Like, it's literally, one of the greatest seasons, if not the greatest season ever by a player.
Cheyenne, what up, Cheyenne? Says, I'm late to the game, but for the record, Philly has one more win than Denver at this point and beat a significantly better roster all season.
Yeah, of course.
That's I like them both. So I don't.
Jokic is the most skilled big man of all time.
Yeah,
that's there's no big man who can do the things Jokic can do.
That's fair. I don't get. I just enjoy the greatness. I like them both.
Yeah.
I don't. I think you barbershop debaters like to.
I think people underrate like his ability to be physical too. Like, he makes good defensive plays. Just because he ain't at the gym drinking his protein shakes and chiseled like David Robinson doesn't mean he can't body you up. He's bodying dudes in the paint. Like, he's a strong dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. You got that out of your system. We're good.
Yeah. I don't
know. Yo, Raj is like, he's like a debate sniper. It's like he'd be minding his own business and then be looking around. Yo, is that a debate over there?
Jumping in.
LeBron James is the go. It's just like jumping into random debates.
I don't think that's not a debate. It's a fact, but that's a conversation another day.
Okay. So any DFS questions in chat, or am I just scrolling through? All right. Anyway, let's move on to the next game. Mavericks hosting the Utah Jazz. Project starting 5 for the Jazz. Project from the Department of Redundancy Department. Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic, Royce O'Neal, Rudy Gobert taking on Luka Doncic, Spencer Dinwiddie, Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dwight Powell, Rudy Gobert midday questionable. Could be a Whiteside night. Luka Doncic looking like he's going to play. He's probable. Jalen Brunson out. Tim Hardaway Jr. continues to be out. Frank Ntilikina out as well. So it's going to be an opportunity for Spencer Dinwiddie to get some more playing time with Luka Doncic. Dinwiddie has been a recent revelation for.
This is the Dinwiddie I expected. All-star Dinwiddie. This is the Dinwiddie I expected, and he's doing his thing in Dallas.
Yeah. Okay, buddy.
So
anyway, Luka has like a 50% assist rate in this split. It is a half a point spread. It's a hook. Utah without Gobert definitely could hit that defense pretty hard, especially if you replace them with the Hassan Whiteside. We've seen them use Azubike as a starter and then Whiteside off the bench. Maybe they use that combo as well. And then, Mavericks aren't overly big here, so you might get some small ball lineups with Rudy Gay and Royce O'Neal. But anything standing out to you? Jazz are on night 2 of back-to-back. Mike Conley rested last night to play tonight, I guess. I didn't have any warmer fuzzies on the Jazz side. I did fall into some Bojan Bogdanovic on Fanduel last night at 4,100, and we saw him have an incredible night from behind the arc. Hit 11 three-pointers on 18 shot attempts, just like nuts. He couldn't miss, and it just had a whole lot of opportunities to chuck, 30-plus real points. Obviously, a little bit of an outlier performance just from a game-to-game standpoint, and more so when you consider the fact that the Dallas Mavericks defensively grade out pretty doggone well, and I think they've been one of the teams that limit points via the 3-ball all year, so we might expect some instant regression to that game. Yet Dallas allows the fewest points via the 3-ball in the league, so something to keep an eye on there. But I still think at 4,100 he's a little bit cheap. What do you like from this game? Luka Doncic is 12.2K on DraftKings, 10.7 on Fanduel. If I look at my initial run for player projections, considering the absence of Jalen Brunson and that this game's projected to stay close, right now Luka's leading every player on the slate for me in fantasy points.
Yeah.
So if you're going to lead a slate with a ton of value in raw fantasy points, at least projection-wise, you're probably going to be somebody I need to get to an aggressive amount of. What are you doing with Luka Doncic tonight, and what are you doing with this game?
I love him in the spot. He's my favorite star on the slate. Won a ton of him, probably pushing 40 to 50%. I think it's a 70-point fantasy spot for him. Utah's been terrible defensively, essentially all season long. Like this Utah kind of, the perception of them being good defensive team just hasn't been it. They've been in shootouts all season long, or especially the second half of the season. And I think Dallas, where they're playing, Luka haven't do it at all. Big spot for him. I expect this game to be a 120, 115 type of game, especially if Rudy Gobert is out. So give me all the Luka Doncic here. Give me all the Dinwiddie. I think those two will do a lot of scoring, playmaking, and just kind of do it all. And the Utah side, I wouldn't mind bringing it back with Donovan Mitchell at 9K. I think he's going to have to score 30 plus real life points to keep this game close. And big spot for him. Whiteside, if Rudy Gobert sits, he'll be the chalk kind of center play. 4,700 on DK, 28 to 30 minutes. I'll take that all day, every day. And probably staying away from Bogdanovich here, just like you said. Dallas, best team against the three ball. Don't expect him to get hot from three against this team. And if he gets a bump up in ownership just because of that big night he had last night, I'll fade him.
Yeah, trying to look at. You said Utah's been bad defensively. I'm wondering if there's some skittishness here, because one of the things I could see that hurts those numbers is the fact that they have the second highest net rating behind Joel Embiid 76ers, meaning that a lot of times they're playing prevent defense up 20, right? So maybe that is impacting their per 100s. But yes, we have seen some teams kind of stun them. We mentioned with the Houston Rockets were able to dance with them pretty long, pretty strong the other night. So I don't know, something to keep an eye out. But I'm not running from the matchup for Luka. Anytime that we can get the Mavericks in a close game, Luka basically all by himself, 60 to 70 fantasy points is very, very, very viable. So I do think Luka is going to be one of the more sought after studs on this slate, pending news opening up somebody else later on. But Dinwiddie, almost 6K. Chat, you let me know too. Is 6K Dinwiddie somebody that you're going to get an aggressive amount of 20-plus real points perhaps here without Jalen Brunson as an expectation? We've seen him kind of come into his own the last couple games and give you about 30 fantasy points a game. He dropped 47.
There's nobody else to score. It's literally Dinwiddie and Luka, and that's it. Finney Smith is not going to score for you, get his own bucket. Dwight Powell's not. Reggie Bullock, he's going to catch and shoot, if anything.
Davis Bertans?
I mean, again, I think he's being used more as a catch and shoot guy. But again, the minutes, I'm not comfortably there.
Okay. Chat says, Mike says, he ain't bodying up defensive studs every night. Most NBA centers are trash in this era. Yeah, I don't know. Jokic is definitely good.
Jokic would be the best center in the league in the 90s. Stop it. He's better than Patrick Ewing, better than David Robinson. He'd keep up with Hakeem and even a young Shaq. He gives Shaq the work, but Shaq would probably body him up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but there's a couple centers in the league right now that might be the best center in the league in the 90s. So don't be that guy. Vucevic might be the best center in the 90s.
LeBron is dropping everyone in the 90s. LeBron making Jordan the second best player in the 90s.
What are you doing?
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant would make Jordan the third best player in the 90s. Stop this.
The Lakers at the Spurs. Next game on the docket, project starting five for the Lakers. Russell Westbrook, Malik Monk, Austin Reeves, Stanley Johnson, LeBron James taking on DeJounte Murray, Joshua Primo, Dougie McBuckets, Keldon Johnson, Jakob Poeltl. Am I not Poeltl enough for the Poeltl Club? 236 total, 2.5 points spread in favor of the home team. San Antonio Spurs. LBJ, always questionable. Probably probable. Questionably probable. Probably questionable. I don't know. Keita Bates, Diop. Okay, let me recap the San Antonio situation, because we have a situation. So let's pull up San Antonio out here on this here list. Devin Vassell, doubtful. Lonnie Walker, doubtful. That in itself represents perhaps 40 real points between these two to compensate for going against the Lakers defense. Very susceptible. Kata, you good?
I'm good.
I swear in my headset, in the peripheral, I thought you fell out of your chair.
No, my laptop holder just kind of slammed down.
All right. So if with just Vassell and Lonnie Walker being out, this opens up a couple of options. They could put Trey Jones, they could put Romeo Langford, Josh Richardson, and then a lot of sites are projecting Josh Primo as the shooting guard here, which which one of them create a potential value, and perhaps you get two of those three. You get the guy off the bench as well, and they're also being able to perhaps isolate expected scoring for DeJounte Murray. And if I don't, there's really no sample sizes here, but at the end of the PrizePicks show that we did right before this show, and we do it every day right here at the channel, so be sure to hit that sub button and get yourself notified when we do go live. Like, subscribe, notify, fancy graphic here. DeJounte Murray had a 34.6% usage rate, a 44% assist rate, without Derek White, Devin Vassell, Lonnie Walker on the court. Only 100 minutes sample size, so we're not really going to go crazy with this number, but we know DeJounte Murray is pretty doggone good at basketball, and he's probably going to carry the load. He's averaging almost 1.8 fantasy points per minute. So I know we said Luka is projected to lead the slate in fantasy points, but with Devin Vassell and Lonnie Walker doubtful, there's a great chance that DeJounte Murray has 70-plus fantasy points tonight, and is the guy to target. And on PrizePicks, he had several attackable lines, and I didn't hate his real point prop either. So I like DeJounte Murray quite a bit, and I'm thinking he might be my highest owned stud, because I do believe sub 10K on Fanduel is very disrespectful, and I think on DraftKings 11.1 I can still justify it. And then Keldon Johnson definitely has a big case here. I've got him second in projected minutes. He's 5,600 on Fanduel, 63 on DK, and Yahoo AK, I'm not as excited about that, but I think if I started a lineup with Keldon Johnson, DeJounte Murray, I feel and then I'd take some tertiary shots on Josh Primo, Trey Jones, guys like that, based on what we might expect the minutes to be and who's starting. On the Lakers side, Russell Westbrook, why can't I quit you? 6,900 on FanDuel. This is really starting to pain me game to game in terms of expectations. The other day, a blurb came out about the pressure within the organization on potentially benching Westbrook. Well, Westbrook in his last couple of games, 32, 29 minutes. Turnovers have been a little bit more tame, but the fantasy points at the end, around 30, closer to 30 than 40 plus. My algorithm always loves Westbrook no matter what, but it loves it even more today because point guards against the San Antonio Spurs have just been a huge spot. The Spurs have been selling out for offense. They're above average in pace. There's going to be a pace-up spot metrically for the Lakers. Not massive, but metrically. And their defensive efficiency, the Spurs, that is, not that great. So I do think Westbrook at under 7K on FanDuel is going to be something that gets me in a little bit of trouble. I had a 16-point gap between my projection and the PrizePicks projection. I understand I'm the high guy here when it comes to projections, but it's hard to at least not respect the matchup here. And the Spurs have been a breeding ground for big fantasy point games for opposing point guards. Last 5 point guards against the Spurs: LaMelo Ball, 46 fantasy points, 30 minutes. De'Aaron Fox, 56 fantasy points, 39 minutes. Ja Morant, 63 fantasy points, 35 minutes. Kyle Lowry, 35 fantasy points in 35 minutes. And Raul Neto, 44 fantasy points, 37 minutes. So it is a plus matchup, plus spot, high total. There's a good chance that Russell Westbrook outperforms his recent stretch of games. And then LeBron James, can he curtain call 50 real points against this defense that we've talked about having its struggles? And something to note about this defense, LeBron, he ain't no stranger to going to the rack. The Spurs allow amongst the most real points per game in the paint. The third most points in the paint allowed, right above the Lakers, ironically. So this is a good spot for those to the rack drives for not only LeBron but for Westbrook as well. And fun fact: did you know the Spurs are bottom 3 in fouls per game? Defense is a little bit sus. Yeah, the reason I know that because I thought that Bronny had a really low free throw prop on PrizePicks today. It's at 4.5 free throws made. I'm like, LeBron James, 40 minutes, 4.5 free throws. I'll take the over, and I still might. But just to kind of make myself feel better, I went to go look up the fouls per game, and the Spurs were the second fewest fouls per game. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, you learn something new every day. Thought I'd pass that along. LeBron James versus DeJounte Murray in single entry. Are you going to do it?
I like it. No, I like it. I mean, you mentioned DeJounte Murray, great spot for him with the injuries for the Spurs. I think the Spurs offer some decent value here. I mean, the Lakers' defense has not been great all season. So a guy like Doug McDermott could be asked to take on a bit more of a scoring load today. Shoot those threes, get the buckets. I can see 20 real-life points for him. You mentioned Keldon Johnson, 6,300. I mean, he's probably their second option here if you consider DeJounte Murray their first. So, like him in this spot. Total at 7,900. I mean, like you said, he's been he got past 26, 36, 40, 58. That's what he can get you. He can get you 30 or he can get you 50. He's averaging 33 in 2 games against the Lakers this year. Not in love with the play, but don't hate it just because of the injuries, because the guys were out for the Spurs. And Lakers, play the GOAT. You play the GOAT every day because he's the GOAT, 11-6. The price tag definitely up there, coming off of 50 real-life points. I could see him getting, 30, 10, and 10 here. He's averaging 60. One game against San Antonio, got 61 fantasy points. But, I mean, at 11-6, you have to make a decision whether you're playing him or Luka or him or Murray. So it is kind of tough. Playing 2 11 guys together on DK.
I mean, so who do you play?
LeBron, if I'm going to rank them. I'll probably go Luka 1 game environment. Actually, no, but the Spurs have been bad too.
There's a 20-point gap in totals. And the Spurs have been easily the worst, much worse defense.
Yeah. I think I might edge to Luka here and then have LeBron, Murray. I mean, those are definitely my top 3. I have all those guys above Embiid and Harden. It's close though. Like it's not like Luka for sure. But if I'm going to have, 30 or 40% Luka, I don't mind having, 30, 25% LeBron James and DeJounte Murray. But playing them together is it's just not possible on DK to make a comfortable lineup. Like you play LeBron and Murray together, you're left with 4,500. I guess you can do the Portland value, guys. Some of the Spurs value.
There's plenty of value. I mean, we haven't even talked about the Warriors yet, but they have 5 guys. Burgers and fries.
I hear. Maybe he's a kind of a stars and scrubs night.
What? Of course it is. What? Shout out to the live chat. Big Bino in the chat. Conscious in the chat. CEH. Keith still going strong. Obi-Wan. Yeah. What's up, boys and girls? Mike still in the chat. Danger, the safety dog, says can't decide between Harden or Murray. Yeah, it's a close one. I think I'm going Murray just because the responsibility level is him and no one else, right? Not that Harden isn't going to do everything, but if the Spurs live up to their total, DeJounte Murray has his hand in everything. And I've often compared his current DFS season to previous seasons of Russell Westbrook. So it might be a fun mirror game. I don't know what I'm going with there. Lorenzo in the chat. Thought you said play the GOAT, right? How Rod's gonna come out here telling LeBron James, but say I might play Luka instead.
Yeah, so we gotta be logical.
Yeah, when has that stopped you before?
True.
Gotta be logical. Donnie says LeBron had to go through 3. Donnie, we can't. If we start this stick of dynamite, I promise
he has
you.
Some bad GMs in Cleveland. This guy was playing with Mo Williams as a second guy. Come on now. Like I said, the 90s era is the expansion era. In what universe, in any sport in the history of the world, is the expansion era the toughest? Never. I don't see why people keep saying the 90s were a tough era when it was the expansion era. That's what I mean with stupid arguments. Like, that's so stupid to say 90s era was a tough era. But hey, what are you going to do?
I can already tell.
Michael Jordan never beat Larry Bird in the playoffs. I just want to say that. He was getting washed by the Celtics.
The pre-log voice chat is already on pace to get crazy. Donnie says Mike was getting beat up by the bad boys of Detroit, yet didn't leave to join LA. Oh, talk about it.
I mean, it was a different time in the league. He was getting beat up. I mean, he had to wait till they got old. He never beat Isaiah Thomas in his prime. He never beat Joe Dumars in his prime. He waited till they got old.
I do believe that this is a great time to do a drop. PrizePicks.com. If you guys are not on PrizePicks, you should be. And if you sign up using code GUNDACKER, they will double your first deposit up to $100 while also supporting the show, the stream. Every time we send them somebody, they're like, yo, appreciate that, Gun. Here's a little something, help you keep that YouTube show free every day. And I'm like, oh, man, you shouldn't have. And then we fist bump, and then it's a lot of goodness. So if you guys haven't tried PrizePicks, you want a way to further diversify your daily spend and also better reward the daily research that you're doing, this is the perfect spot for you. Raj, on Wednesday, there's 12 games from the league. And do you know how crazy keeping tabs on 12 games has been over the years for DFS? Who's in, who's out here? Do we have an 8-man rotation that makes every other game irrelevant? It's a nightmare, and it's often overwhelming. Well, the bigger the slate, the more profitable it has been on these player prop-centric sites, especially sites like PrizePicks. So I used to dread 12-game slates, but now I'm excited because PrizePicks offers me a way to isolate some of the best spots to attack. So I do think using the brain power of the RunDFS.com VIP spreadsheet and the brain of a neuroscientist, our boy Josh, and then, of course, everyone in that Discord, now I'm excited. Now I'm looking forward to a 12-game slate. So go check out PrizePicks chat. Get in on that today. My boy Cola in the chat said, favorite PrizePicks line today? Wrong one. I think Tyrese Maxey Real Points was the one that I was most privy to. He has a 17.5 point prop, and with James Harden dissing the Rock with his 230 plus implied total, I definitely think he can live up to this 20 plus real point game stretch that he has been on. This 17 came when the team scored 82, game 3 and 4 nights. Oh, no James Harden. So Tyrese Maxey over real points is my favorite line. So go join that chat. Hit that thumbs up too while you're at it. We're at on thumbs up. We're at 60 likes, 226 viewers. I'm just saying you could do better.
Here's that's why Calvin really put out a tweet. I bet $1,500 total. I don't have a gabbing problem. I mean, these guys spend it for a year for betting $1,500 total. Like, come on. When his bank account's in the millions.
I mean, I don't want to be random nobody who speculates. But if it's 15, like, was it 15 on the books at like a sports book? Or did you just call up one of your homies and say, yo, $1,500 bucks?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like players are allowed to make friends. Like, if Drake's like, yo, Drake makes a bet with him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure the league's not going to be like, you're spending for the year.
Bro, I bet $1,500 total on a friggin' CSGO slate the other day.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got to get spending for a year. And his bank account a little bigger than ours, you know?
A little bit.
So, I mean... Yeah, if you get spending for a year when he literally bet 0.00001% of his net worth.
That's tough. I mean, but also you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Like
it is. I'm saying so. $1,500 cost him what? $7 million, $8 million, or whatever he's making. That's wild.
Literally, have someone else his name. Have your wife. Right? I don't know.
Someone, yeah.
But I mean, these leagues have rules like that. My boy works as a I don't know he works for the Orlando Magic, but he's not. He doesn't work with the Orlando Magic. He works at like tickets and stuff. He can't play DraftKings. It's like in his agreement when he signed it, and you know they're really strict on that. So like you can't do it, right? It's the same thing where when they were popping suspensions on like marijuana stuff. Like I don't think it should be illegal. I don't do it, but I don't think it should be illegal. But if it's the rules, that's you play by the rules. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It sucks for him, but he shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have done it. All right. Cola says they moved that line to 18.5. I still like it. As long as it's below 20, I like them to do well. He made it happen, said no Dinwiddie props was still that DFS points 10.5 is crazy low, cleared in 8 of the last 10 games. Yeah, someone else has got to compensate for no Jalen Brunson here, so I don't think that I don't think it's a crazy take, right? The bad boys would have had Bron crying for his mama. Man.
What are you talking about? LeBron is 280, 6'9". The bad boys would get knocked out. What are we talking? Bill Laimbeer would get knocked out with one shoulder from LeBron. LeBron, drives with his shoulder up. Every one of those bad boys is getting knocked out. Jordan ain't built like that. Jordan was, 220 pounds, soaking wet on a good day? Come on now.
Golden State Warriors project starting 5 tonight. Jordan Poole, Damian Lee, Moses Moody, Otto Porter Jr. maybe, Kevin Looney taking on Monte Morris, Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, Jeff Green, Nikola Jokic. 221 is our total 8-point spread in favor of the Nuggets of Denver. We have all the starters essentially outside of Kevin Looney. And then we got midday Qs on Juan Toscano Anderson and Otto Porter Jr., so he won't face his Porter Jr. brother, his team Michael, if he ends up getting ruled out. His other brother, Kevin Porter Jr., did play the other night. It's a whole thing. The Porter Jr. brothers, their family gatherings are crazy. Jokic's huge game last night. Nothing to say he will or will not play today, but we did have this conspiracy theory earlier that maybe he would sit this one out if the spread got a little too lopsided, and maybe you get yourself a DeMarcus Cousins round 2. As is 8-point spread here, Denver full strength. So if Denver's full strength with namely Jokic on the court, I usually just go to Jokic. Barton is questionable. If Barton ends up not playing, it might boost my interest in Monte Morris. He's been closer to a fantasy point per minute without Will Barton. And then, of course, you can make a case for sub 5K Aaron Gordon on Fanduel. And then the Golden State Warriors, we've had a couple rounds of them resting all of their starters in a few spots this year. Maybe this list of out gets a little bit longer if we lose JTA and Otto Porter, and we can sink our teeth in a little bit stronger into guys like Jordan Poole, Damian Lee, Kevin Looney, guys like that. And this looks like your value, guys. I think this slate comes down to getting these guys right or getting these guys wrong. It's hard to not like the sub 5K price point of everyone on this team outside of Jordan Poole, and even Jordan Poole, who has started for this team, looks like a solid option. Raj, what is your early lean on the Warriors here? If we assume that these midday Qs on JTA, on Otto Porter, turn into outs, we might get really heightened minutes for Jonathan Kuminga, who might start at the 4 and play 35-plus minutes. You might get some Nemanja Bjelica in the mix. I guess start ranking your Warriors and how much exposure to these Warriors are you going to find yourself getting to. These guys open up the slate. The studs and scrubs lineups will pretty much start with most of these guys. I can see Damian Lee, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga all being 30-40% owned depending on the contest, if not more, right?
Yeah, I gotta love Jordan Poole here. I mean, he could chuck the ball 25 times today. He's gonna have to do all the scoring for them, so I like him. You mentioned Damian Lee. I think he's probably their secondary kind of scorer here. $3,400. Love him. You mentioned Moses Moody. I mean, he's a guy that's going to chuck the ball too. I wonder which one of these guys will play the point guard role. Maybe Chioza, as he's probably going to do most of the playmaking here. Could see, 5, 6, 7, 8 assists if the game goes right. 3,200. You got to like that. I love Bjelica when he gets minutes. If I could comfortably put 25 minutes on him, I would just lock him in. I just think he's so super skilled. Why he doesn't get 25, 30 minutes a game, do not understand. This guy could be a walking triple-double when given the minutes and the usage. 3,500, love that. Kevon Looney, I guess he's going to be out there, to play, put a body on Jokic, 4,100. Not running to play him, but, he's definitely viable. I think all these Golden States are in play just with everybody out. They have how many players they have access to? 9? 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to say maybe 9 players. So they might only have a 7-8 man rotation. So they're going to play all the minutes. I think all these Golden State guys are there, but I kind of rate them. Jordan Poole 1, Damian Lee 2, probably Bjelica 3, then Chioza 4. Denver side, Jokic should feast. It's Jokic's world. We're just living in it right now. He's 12-6. So obviously the one worry in this game is if it doesn't stay competitive, Denver could blow him out. Wouldn't be shocked. So I'm going to have Jokic ranked below guys like Luka, LeBron, DeJounte Murray, but man, I mean, him versus Embiid, I think, is a little intriguing in this, like, DFS wise.
Is it? Hold up. No. Yeah, I mean, if Jokic plays, he's live to lead the slate fantasy points again, especially coming off nearly 100 fantasy points last night. Did get extra innings there, and like I said, that's why I was kind of open to the idea of maybe Mike Malone being a little bit. Even if it, secret squirrely, right, with his minutes, even if he doesn't rest this game, maybe a little bit lighter on his feet due to the implied spread being what it is. So yeah, I'm gonna wrestle with that range of outcomes. I'm really gonna see myself stuck on DeJounte. I think DeJounte versus LeBron is gonna be one of my more sought after correlations in lineups tonight, and go from there. By the way, looking at Twitter, it says the NFL determined that Calvin Ridley made legal parlay bets on his phone while in Florida, sources say, including some involving the Falcons. He bet on the Falcons, not against them, according to that source. So, and the funny thing about that is Florida was only had legal sports betting for like a couple weeks, and then the natives, I guess, were like, nah, never mind. So, unfortunate that you just happened to be in Florida during a couple weeks where you could do that, and then you lost your season. What are you gonna do? Let's get caught up on live chat here. Actually, I got to be real selective here because a lot of debates going on. I just got to get you in that free Discord. Open up the voice chat and just let you have a Royal Rumble against all these guys. What up, Larry Banks says LBJ doesn't have the heart to play against the bad. Man, there's a lot of bad boy Pistons enthusiasts in chat today.
Bro, Bill Laimbeer called LeBron James the GOAT. Y'all hyping up bad boys. I mean, the bad boys calling him the GOAT. Isaiah Thomas thinks he's the GOAT. You have two of the biggest pieces of the bad boys who say LeBron's the GOAT. What are we talking about?
Mr. Torrance says Jordan Poole scares me. We've seen a few times with all the big guys out from Golden State and let Poole do his thing, and he's been not as productive. I'm fading him. I'm not gonna sway you guys on or off. I certainly think that when we get these can't miss value spots, a couple guys do miss, and they miss that extended ownership. But that's probably where I start driving some wedges, driving some rules. Might have to wrestle with capping at 3 or 4 today. I think because of this total and what they're implied for, I probably cap the Warriors at 3 and go from there. But there's a lot to like here. But it could just be a lot of okay value. You know what I mean? Like 25, 28 fantasy points from 3 guys. Not going to be as valuable as maybe if you just get it from one position. So I do have a really nice projection on Jordan Poole. At the end of the day, I still trust the projection. It's just going to come down to managing my exposure level. So I'm going to get my ear to the ground, kind of monitor what the field projected ownership will be on guys like this. And then just kind of leverage for and against what the field is doing and just hope I'm on the right side, right? And then, like I said, Monte Morris is somebody I'm a little bit intrigued with if Will Barton ends up not playing. And then you can make a case for, some tertiary shares, some big field tournaments of like a Bones Highland or Facundo Campanzo. Nothing I'm going crazy with. Chat, 225 of the coolest DFS grinders on YouTube hanging out in this chat right now. And some of you guys may have forgotten to smash that like button. If you hit that like button, we have a real chance one of these days to break the most live likes record, which is 189, to get your chat jersey into the rafters. 189 live is what we hit on January 31st. It's been over a month, man. That is going to be a hard record to break. I don't think we're going to touch concurrent viewers again this season, but I think the live likes, we have the ability to break that record every day because we're always well over 200 views at this time of day. So if you guys think you can do it, get on that like button, man. Show some love, and then if it gets 100 plus is at least the daily goal, and we go from there. We got one game left on the docket. Take a pause for the cause immediately following this stream. I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. This is the premium Discord. If you guys do get a subscription at RunDFS.com, click VIP memberships, find something right for you. We got so many cool cats and kittens in there, including millionaires, thousandaires, hundredaires, and then guys that are balling on a budget and girls balling on a budget. So no matter where you're at, we don't discriminate, man. We got love for everybody except for Raj. And we invite you to come join us. And once you do sign up, click VIP portal. You'll have links to the spreadsheets and link to the RunDFS.com VIP Discord every day.
The smartest guy in the room to get the most hate. I feel like it tends to happen in a lot of spaces.
Usually the dumbest guy in the room is the loudest guy in the room, right?
Not in this situation.
You know what I'm just saying? And that guy tends to interrupt plugs. That's part of the format. I don't know, whatever.
Keep it different.
If you subscribe, be sure to get in that Discord every day for 2 hours before lock. I'm in this right here, the NBA voice chat, hanging out, making my player pools, and We're reacting to news, digesting news, stuff like that. If you don't want to get in the premium, you don't play every day to make it worth it, that's cool too. Jump in the free Discord, the Gundacker Gaming Discord. Link to that is in the description below. And there's been a couple of you guys. This is just a week old, man. We're building it, so still looking for some Pioneer members to help keep this thing going active. I'm going to be doing more giveaways, maybe RunDFS.com membership giveaways, adding more utility. I've already invested in a few bots to post news and stuff like that, and every night we're seeing some fun screenshots in there. A couple of you guys chopping it up in here, talking some plays, man. So shout out to all you guys that have been jumping in here daily. Most recently, Parker Douglas, Kyle Kaz, Lana Kia, Crazy Talented, Toronto, KB Money, Mad Attack, Ram Kumar. You guys are awesome for jumping in there. Be sure you guys are in there as well. We'll be looking for more moderators and more cool stuff to do here. Let's get caught up on chat, and then we'll get into the main event of the evening. Sean V says, I'll never play a Chalk Jordan pool. Obi wants his thoughts on Moody Gun. Yeah, I think Moody's fine. I think all these guys are fine, and they become even better plays if Otto Porter doesn't play, if Juan Toscano Anderson doesn't play, and then we really feel okay about a close to 9-8 guys minute rotation. So up until now, I'm not that froggy when it comes to like Steve Kerr and these punt games, but those are games where we've seen JTA, Bielisa, Otto Porter, Kuminga, all those guys be active, and even like Gary Payton has muddied up the waters with the guard stuff to where no one was just like exciting at the end of the night. I think tonight's a little bit different because of there are a few more guys being listed as out. So there's really no one that's off limits for me. On the Warriors side, I'll probably be like the lightest on Bielisa and Chioza based on news that does come out. But I really wouldn't want to sway you guys on or off anyone. It really comes out to what's the starting lineup. I probably give credence to all the starters to have the better half of the minutes that are part of to be distributed. And then we go from there. And it really just comes down to does Otto Porter play or not. But past that, I like everyone. I like everyone individually, I'll say. How many minutes do you think will play? Who's that? Moody. Right now I have Moody for 32 minutes. Remember, we've seen Moody start some games this year, so I don't think that, I think 30 is a reasonable projection. Travis Duarte, would you play McLaughlin or Noel if D'Lo misses? If that's a 1-to-1, the answer is yes. If I had to pick one, it's probably Jalen Noel. Looks like he's been the guy that gets the more immediate minutes. If they okey-doked us and started McLaughlin, I guess we'd have to change based on that. But in that last game, as soon as Malik Beasley got ejected, they went to Jalen Noel. But like I said, there's still a lineup that has no Beverly or D'Angelo Russell. We saw Beverly did not start that last game. McLaughlin got 21 minutes, and Noel saw 24. However, Noel immediately benefited from no Beasley. I guess McLaughlin came in right when Beasley got ejected, and then Noel was in there as well. So I guess that's closer to a coin flip than not. But I guess I would go with the starter, assuming it would be Noel, but it's not a lock. If both Russ and Beverly were out, I wonder what they would do. It would be coin flip between McLaughlin and Jalen Noel, assuming that they go back to starting Malik Beasley here. So I guess go with the starter in that split. Say 24 or so with Clay and Wiggins out. Yeah, I like Raj's call of Bielisa. Oh, Mike, don't agree with Raj. Still
like it. Yep. Big spot.
No hate, Raj. Hey, chat, it's okay. We have these live debates, man. No name calling, and we out here, man. We having fun with it. That's what I like about our community. We keep the vibes high, right? You could disagree. You could be animated. And don't attack people. Don't call them dumb. Don't call them idiots, blah, blah, blah. A.K.A. Raj. Knicks at the Kings. Main event tonight. Project starting five for the Knicks. Alec Burks, Evan Fournier, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson taking on De'Aaron Fox, Justin Holiday, Harrison Barnes, Trey Lyles, Domantas Sabonis, 231.5 total, 4.5 point spread. Favor the Sacramento Kings. The Knicks are on game number 3 in 4 nights. Game 2 of a back-to-back, a little treacherous road trip here. Philly, at Phoenix, at the Clippers last night. And this, of course, being 3rd and 4. They are slight dogs here, but there is some stuff to like, I think, on the Knicks side. We're seeing a lot of high predictive value in minute projections. R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, the two most prevalent guys for minute expectations. And R.J. Barrett's been on a tear this side of the All-Star break without Kemba Walker. It's been giving you 20-plus real points a game to drop in the bucket and kind of going from there. A couple of assists and a couple of rebounds, 5-plus rebounds, 5-plus assists. Not an outlandish expectation against the Sacramento Kings, the second worst defensive efficiency in all of basketball. And then if you start 20 points on that as well, this 8K price point might be appropriate. And people, they're not used to paying 8K for RJ Barrett, but they are used to picking on the Sacramento Kings. So unstoppable force, immovable object. What do you do there? I think Julius Randle, RJ Barrett are the favorite spots for me to attack from this game, but I wouldn't write off Mitchell Robinson. I love centers against the Kings. I love the Kings' lack of rebounding, and I love the fact that they bleed points in the paint to opposing centers. So a couple names to like for late night hammer viability. And then on the Kings side, De'Aaron Fox is about 9K on both Fanduel and DraftKings. I'm looking for 50-plus fantasy points. And so bonus, if he could stay out of foul trouble, we know he has the potential to drop 60-plus fantasy points, but fouls have been a thing. 5 fouls, 6 fouls, 5 fouls, 5 fouls. Man, he has just been on the wrong side of the whistles as of late, and that's perhaps impacting his ability to play into those 36, 37 minutes that we saw him play against Denver, against Chicago. Yeah, Rashawn Holmes has been active lately, but we know Rashawn Holmes is probably not somebody that they want to give aggressive minutes to. So if Sabonis can have a game where he stays out of foul trouble, might be easier said than done going against an active big like Julius Randle here and there. He's getting 9K on FanDuel. 50-plus fantasy points, not an outlandish expectation. But the Knicks are going to slow the pace down, and they're going to play okay in terms of defending the paint here. So, Raj, anything standing out to you from this game? In a weird turn of events, I feel like I'm more inclined to get Knicks exposure tonight than I am Kings exposure, with RJ Barrett and Julius Randle being the guys that kind of want to spin the wheel on and get a little bit of ownership of each, and maybe some Alec Burks, some.
No, I hear you. I mean, RJ Barrett, 8K. I want to say that might be the most expensive he's been all season. 8K. I mean, this guy was a mid 5K guy for a long time. So, kind of a tough price tag to get to. A bit of a sticker shock with that one. But I get it against Sacramento. Poor defense. Could definitely have a big game here. Julius Randle, 9,500. I think he's a kind of one of these studs that gets overlooked today with all these 11K plus guys. They might get lost in the sauce here, but at 9,500 could drop 50 for you against Sacramento team. Don't hate it. Sacramento side, I'm always going to have a little bit of Fox and Sabonis too. I think both those guys just provide you so much upside that you don't want to fade them.
Yeah. And yeah, late night hammer game. So if you're into hammers, this game offers hammers. 6,661 subscribers on the channel. If you're out there lurking, you like the vibes, you like the content. We're out here every day, weekday grinding. And on Saturdays, be sure to hit that red subscribe button below. Hit that notifications bell as well. And get yourself part of the community, man. We are out here every day. And we like to have a good time and break down with a little casual laid backness to it as well. So metrics are fun, but so is just enjoying the sport. So if that's something you can vibe with, hit that sub button, be part of the action every day, be part of that live chat, be part of the Discords. Let's get caught up on chat. Mitch was having a solid night last night until they pulled away, says Keith. Yeah. Trav says, how many minutes do you have for Doug McDermott? Can he reach 30? With those aforementioned guys potentially out, I definitely think he can. He's usually an incredibly scoring dependent guy, so I don't have like high expectations for him in terms of playing him. But for minutes here, I think I wrote. Let's see, what did we wrote for? Right, I have 28 right now. But if some more news comes out the right way, certainly 30 plus isn't outside of the realm of possibility. Big Bino says it could be me, but I really think Sabonis be tired and fouling on purpose. But since the Knicks slow, he ain't gonna be fouling. Maybe. Gun, please rank your favorite teams to load up on tonight. Says Solid Picks. What up, Solid Picks? In terms of like 3-man stacks, I would probably say Portland has a 3-man stack for value. Past Josh Hart on DK. Trenton Watford, Ellaby, maybe Brandon Williams, Greg Browns, guys like that. The Minnesota Timberwolves, if we get news shaking the right way that gets D-Russ out of the picture, Edwards doubtful, Beverly out, you could get Malik Beasley. You can get Jared Vanderbilt because Taron Prince is also questionable, and so is Naz Reid. Jared Vanderbilt could play into 30-plus minutes, and if he stays out of foul trouble, he's an incredible per-minute producer. And then, of course, Cat with Beasley or Vanderbilt or a Jalen Noel, somebody like that, if the news went out the right way. The San Antonio Spurs are certainly three-man stackable. I'd start at the top with DeJounte Murray, obviously, but Keldon Johnson is very, very viable, and with the potential absence of all three of Vassell, Lonnie Walker, and guys like that, you can make cases for Primo, Langford, Trey Jones, somebody like that. I would say that the guy I'd be most intrigued with from the Spurs is going to be whoever starts alongside DeJounte Murray. A lot of sites are right now projecting it to be Joshua Primo, but we have seen Trey Jones draw some spot starts this year, so I wouldn't be stunned if he started alongside him. And then Josh Richardson, who was part of that Derek White trade, could be somebody that Popovich randomly throws into the starting lineup. So not a bad look for a three-man stack, I think. Golden State, three-man value stack is very valuable. So I guess if we're looking for teams that we can stack, Portland, Minnesota, Golden State, potentially San Antonio, potentially. And that's kind of it. I'm not really...
Got a package I got to go pick up downstairs.
Okay. Well, you can say your goodbyes if you want.
Say, yep. Play Luka Doncic, play DeJounte Murray, play LeBron. Those are the studs. And value guys, play the value guys. Play Bielitsa. Bielitsa, 40 fantasy points tonight. That's the one that's going to win you 100K.
All right. Raj just said to play all the 11K guys and be done with it. So shout out to Raj. Let me close that screen out. Bam, get that off the screen. Chat, man, it's been a fun one. But I guess if you have a couple more questions, I can knock them out. Mike says Robinson has 50 fantasy point potential at 5,200. I agree with that 100%. Kings have been a really, really fruitful matchup for opposing centers, especially rebound rise. So if you like some PrizePicks lanes on Mitchell Robinson, I wouldn't argue against that for sure. Said they only bet 1,500 total. Yeah, this whole Calvin Ridley thing is wild. Maybe it'll set a precedent to future change. I definitely I don't think he made to me, it doesn't feel like a cardinal sin, but I guess by NFL rules, it's still a sin. So he's gotta pay for it, man. It's kind of, you break the rules, you know the risk. But it's unfortunate because we obviously, us, if anybody's gonna be empathetic towards towards gambling, especially for parlays, is what they said he ran. We get it, and I wonder if he even won the bet. That'll be, if you put 1,500 in parlays, good chance you didn't win it. Maybe he did though. Maybe he did. Bing bong.
Solid Picks super chatted $1.99. Enjoy a bang.
Appreciate that, man. Fridge is stocked right now, but I'm gonna add to it probably tonight or tomorrow. Make an Instacart. A bang, $2, chat. I love that bet. I love that dono there. Solid Picks. That's awesome. Good luck tonight. I appreciate that, Mike. Be sure you guys get into that free Gundecker Gaming Discord. Keith says you like Bagley if he plays. Keith, I think the thing with Bagley is, coming off the bench, you never quite know what they are going to do with him minute-wise. It could be a hot hand thing. It could benefit from foul trouble from Jeremy Grant. Still got Kelly Olynyk in the mix, Isaiah Stewart, Jeremy Grant. But Bagley's somebody I'd probably expect for 22 minutes if all things are going the right way. And I think on a big slate like this, that's not something I want to sell out for. But it's certainly it's certainly something we've seen him, flirt with 20 real points and go from there. But I don't think I'm going to have exposure to Bagley on the main slate. But, that'll do it. Chat, I'm headed to the RunDFS.com Discord in about 15 minutes. Go to RunDFS.com. Get yourself a membership. It's a great start to the week. A good week of slates. We have a big slate Wednesday, 2-game slate Thursday, kind of a day off. But we'll be back tomorrow. PrizePicks show at 2 p.m. Eastern. The DFS show, 3 p.m. Eastern. I appreciate you guys making part of my day, be part of your day. Please tell somebody that you love them. I love you. Good luck. God bless. And as always, go win some money.